23. Terrence Ross just did this over the manimal.
Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada.
What is happening, Raptorland? It's game night as the Raptors look to get back on track against the sputtering Pistons. This is the Raptors Wrap-Up. Despite the tough loss to Brooklyn, the Raptors are still well on their way to the franchise's second division title, and playing the Pistons at home should get Toronto back on the right track. The Raps have won 3 of their last 4 against Detroit and have been doing the job against sub-500 teams, something they'll see a lot of down the stretch. Toronto beat Detroit 112-91 in the only meeting between the teams this season. The Pistons are in disarray as their head coach Mo Cheeks has already been fired, not even lasting a full season. Detroit has lost 10 of 13 and are currently on a 9-game road losing streak. The Raptors are kicking off a 3-game homestand where they've won 14 of their last 18 at the ACC. The biggest mismatch we're going to look at is Kyle Singler versus DeMar DeRozan. This is a gargantuan mismatch. Singler doesn't have the foot speed to guard DeRozan consistently, and they may throw Josh Smith at him too. DeRozan lived at the line last time around, getting there 16 times, and that may happen once again. DeRozan is likely in a bad mood over Monday's poor performance, and he'll likely take it out on Detroit. I look for DeMar to get his on his way to a 30-plus point night. On to the key matchup, starting at point guard with Brandon Jennings versus Kyle Lowry. In a disaster you could see coming a mile away, the Pistons worked a sign and trade with the Bucks for Jennings, and it hasn't worked out to say the least. Jennings is shooting just 33% from 3, where he takes 5.5 per game. He's also shooting just 37% from the field on almost 15 shots a game. That's wildly inefficient, and it's tough to win when your point guard is shooting that often and that poorly. The 24-year-old hasn't improved over his career, now in his 4th season. Against the Raptors' stout defense, look for Jennings to have another off night. Lowry has been great the last few games and appears to have rediscovered his shot, setting the tone and intensity for the team. The biggest mismatch between Jennings and Lowry is basketball IQ, and I look for Lowry to take advantage of that to find his offense early and often. I expect Lowry to have another big game at the offensive end while letting Jennings take all the jumpers he wants. Lowry winning this matchup handily will be the biggest key to a Raptors win. At power forward, we'll see Greg Monroe versus Amir Johnson. Monroe is having another empty stats season. He seems to drift in and out of games, but the 15-9 is always there. He hasn't seemed to win over Detroit's front office, and it's widely believed that the Pistons will either sign and trade or let the 23-year-old former number 7 overall pick walk. Monroe can be a force at times, but hasn't found enough consistency. With Amir Johnson still not 100% over his ankle injury and playing heavy minutes lately, Monroe may have a big game. Preventing Monroe from going off will be key because if he gets going, along with Andre Drummond wreaking his usual havoc, the Pistons will be incredibly tough to stop in the paint, an area of weakness for the Raps recently, especially with Patrick Patterson out. Amir has been a warrior lately. It's clear Casey only trusts Johnson and Patterson out of his bigs, and with Patterson out, he's leaning heavily on Amir. This showed as Amir was exhausted in the 4th quarter against Brooklyn. It doesn't get any easier against Detroit's big bodies. The Raps don't have much offensive punch with their big men right now outside of Amir, so they'll need a heroic effort from him on both ends of the court tonight. If he has a rough go of it, the Raptors will become a one-dimensional offense leaning on their wings. At center, we'll see a battle of 2 young big men with Andre Drummond versus Jonas Valanciunas. Drummond has been the bright spot in an otherwise dismal Pistons season. The 20-year-old is averaging 13 points, 13 rebounds, and almost 2 blocks per game. He still has some horrific offensive games, but the big man is rapidly improving and becoming more consistent. He's capable of putting up 20 and 20 on any night. It's also an interesting fork in the road for the Raptors, as he was clearly the best player available when the Raptors chose need and selected Terrence Ross over Drummond. He only scored 6 points against the Raps last time out, but I expect him to have a much better game this time around. We went over the struggles and regression of Jonas in the breakdown of the loss to the Nets. JV's confidence seems to be at an all-time low right now, and this is the wrong time to be running into Drummond. Jonas actually played well against Drummond last time out, but a lot has changed in 2 months. Despite the Raptors needing big bodies against the Pistons, Jonas seeing 25 minutes is no sure thing. We're likely to get a lot of Tyler Hansbrough and Chuck Hayes in this one. Regardless of how Jonas plays, I look for the Pistons and Drummond to go at Jonas often, as his lack of confidence is no secret. The play of the big men as a unit for the Raptors is the X factor towards a win. And finally, Josh Smith versus Terrence Ross at small forward. Smith has been a bust since signing with the Pistons this offseason. He's fallen in love with his long-range jumper and ranks dead last among qualified players on long-range shots at just 24%. Smith has become a guy the advanced metrics guys hate due to his poor shot selection. Smith is a very gifted player, but doesn't utilize his talents the right way due to low basketball IQ. He's shooting a career-low 42% from the field and 56% from the line. The Pistons need the disruptive force all over the court version of Josh Smith if they're going to pull off the upset in this one. It will be tough though, as the Raptors are good at guarding the 3 spot. The biggest reason for that is Terrence Ross. Ross has embraced the role of defensive stopper for Toronto as of late. They've been consistently matching him up with the opposing team's top offensive wingman or guard, and he's more than held his own. On top of that, his perimeter jumper has improved all season, and he makes opposing teams pay if left open. He'll make his defender work to stay on him, moving all over the court and off of screens. Against a team like the Pistons, Ross definitely has the potential to have a big shooting night. This game may be tougher than it looks. The Pistons have a big advantage down low, but their lack of leadership often sees them miss good opportunities due to selfishness and lack of team unity. The Raptors are a much better cohesive unit, and I think they'll use their major backcourt advantage to get the victory in this one. And that is going to do it for this edition of the Raptors Wrap-Up. Follow me on Twitter at Raptors Wrap-Up, where I'll be live tweeting tonight's game. Keep an eye out for tomorrow's episode, where I'll be breaking down this game. And as always, thanks for watching.